On this week's episode of Marketing O'Clock,
we talk about the Twitter takeover that has taken over the internet news.
New customers, who dis? New customer acquisition goals arrive for PMax.
We have everything that you need to know now that everyone will have their paws all over the extension upgrades this weekend.
All on today's show.
Welcome, you are listening to Marketing O'Clock. Just stay tuned. Digital marketing news, but let's get specific. Digital ads, SEO and analytics, social media and more. Pretty much everything that'll make your website perform. With new shows every Friday. We give you the news with sass and puns and definitely hot takes. Thank you for tuning in. You know what time it is. It's officially Marketing O'Clock. Settle in, sit back, keep it locked.
Hey there, I'm Christine Zernheld.
AKA Shep.
I'm Nicole Waddington.
And I'm Greg Finn.
And it's officially Marketing O'Clock.
Here on April 29th, 2022. Hello, everybody. I had another wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining us for another episode. Watched a couple movies this weekend, and you just can't avoid the rats. You can't avoid them in Shrek the Fourth, and you certainly can't avoid them in the new Batman movie with my boyfriend, Rob Pattinson. I don't know who needs to hear this, but your movie does not need a rat, okay? It doesn't. Every single movie has rats.
Not Ratatouille.
Okay. What's going on with you, Nicole? It's good to see you. You haven't been here in a while.
I know. It's been like a month and a half.
I see you every day, so I forget. I'm one of the lucky ones. But we're happy to have you on the show this week.
It's good to be back.
What's new with you?
So I have been living in the same apartment complex for the past 9 months. And I thought it was pretty normal. You know, you have your characters. But last week, there was an ambulance. And, you know, I will say that the ambulance came more frequently than I'd assume ambulance come to other people's neighbors' houses. And there was a neighbor that lives above me that was screaming profanities and getting carried off on the stretcher into an ambulance. She did not want to go.
More than once?
Well, this was the first time I was home to witness this. It's like 10 o'clock at night. And then the next day, I meet a neighbor who lives in the complex as well, and she has all the gossip about this. So apparently, the lady who is carried away on a stretcher, it happens more than once, and she does it because she's threatening my next door neighbor with a knife.
What?
And it's all this drama, and apparently some people are getting kicked out of the building. Other people are going to have to move to another building that these landlords own because they can't live at peace with the other neighbors.
Why don't they just kick out the lady who's threatening someone with a knife?
What kind of knife is it?
I'm not sure. And I kind of want to ask my other neighbor.
Wait, so you don't know the person that she's threatening with the knife?
I do. She's very friendly. She lives right next to me. But I don't know the person who's threatening.
Do you know why?
Person. I don't know.
I learned about this. And the funniest thing is, I was like, Nicole, you got to get out of there. Nicole's like, well, honestly, like, I don't have that much more entertaining things than this. What was exactly you said? You said
it
something.
Keeps my life spicy.
Keeps your life spicy.
So you've only seen it once.
I've only seen it once, but I've seen ambulances before. Maybe she just wasn't screaming against her will at that point.
That is...
You got to get out of there.
Yeah. It's a building, like, these are units people are in?
Yeah.
So she's, like, marching across the hall.
We don't share a hall. But it's like next door. We all have separate entrances.
I'm really scared for your safety. Maybe
that's what everyone said.
Do you need
an everyday carry knife.
I can make you a knife.
Maybe.
To protect yourself. Okay, we'll have to get an update the next time you're on the show. That is nuts. Greg, what's up with you?
All right. As you heard last week, it was Thursday night, and my two little Oompa Loompas were getting ready for the big performance for Friday, and we're going to bed, and everybody had their pajamas on, and we hear this chirp, and it's like the fire alarm chirp. I'm like, oh man, I'm just going to take care of this quick. Whatever. So I go take the carbon monoxide fire or smoke detector off the wall, and I just throw it in the garbage. Right? I order a new one.
Safety.
I have a ton of fire smoke alarms.
Okay.
The thing's still chirping. So I'm like, oh my God. I go, and it's not one of the new 10-year like lithium ones. So I go and I try to take the batteries out, but it's like a hybrid one where the batteries are inside of it, but there's not a disconnect button. And I've installed probably 20 smoke detectors in the past 4 years. I know how they work. So I'm like, oh my God. So I break the thing open and I rip this one little part off on it and just throw it back in the garbage. I'm like, all right, now kids, go to bed. I hear the thing chirp again. And we're like going around, we're like, maybe it's a different one. So we're running around the house looking for it. No, it's that one again. So there's this other little battery thing in there. And my wife is out with her friends at a bar somewhere. And so I'm like, all right, I'm in my pajamas. I don't have my EDC on me. I don't have my pliers, my handy pliers I use all the time, just to take something out. I'm just going to rip the battery, this other thing that looks like a battery out, and be on my way, get the kids to bed early.
I'm scared.
I rip the battery out, and the metal piece comes right with it and sinks into the middle of my finger, deep down. And like you can like feel that like the warm heat of how far down it went into there. And I'm like good under pressure. So I'm like, shoot.
And your kids are right there?
The kids are right there. 2 7-year-olds. And my wife is gone. And I'm like, this is bad. Right. And like I make knives. I cut myself all the time, but I cut myself in the stupid smoke detector. So I push it together quick. And I'm like, I could like see into the cut. Like that's how big it was. So I'm like, shoot. I push it together. I get the bleeding like pretty stopped because I'm just mashing it together. And I put a Band-Aid on and I call my wife home, right? And get the kids to bed. It was just blood everywhere. So my wife comes home and I have like it all laid out. This is also like indicative of the health system here in the US. My plan is I'm going to take this thing off, and as long as my finger isn't like dangling around, I'm going to super glue it back together and just go to bed. I take it off with my wife. There's no way you can super glue this thing together. If you want to see it, you can click on the don't click this there.
That's Friday night.
This is
Thursday night.
Thursday night. And again, the kids have a big day tomorrow, the next day. So this is my finger. It's like
I'm scared.
Really deep.
I can't believe you haven't told us this yet.
Right. Real bad. And so I start calling around urgent cares and I'm like, hey, can I get in here? I got to wait for my wife to get home. I could be there like 9:30. They're like, oh, we're not going to be able to fit you in. We're not going to be able to fit you in. So I'm like, shoot, what do I do? And I'm like, I should go to the emergency room or like maybe just sleep on it and take care of it in the morning. Go to urgent care. So I just wrapped it up real tight and slept on it and went to the urgent care the next morning. And the lady's like, what are you doing? Like, why did you do this? You have to get it taken care of like immediately within like 6 hours. I'm like, yeah, I just didn't know if it was like an emergency or not.
Oh my God.
I had to get 4 stitches and she's like, this is like really bad. It started healing, so she had to rip it back open, and which was not fun, and like clean it all out again and put it all back.
The iodine?
Yeah, yep. So that's it. And there we go. I got 4 stitches.
How have I not noticed it?
I don't know. And then, but I got it taken care of at 8 a.m. I was waiting outside line for this urgent care. I was the first one in. I got in, I got out. I made it to my 10 o'clock the next day. And I've got Frankenfinger now all the way around from a fire or smoke detector. Like I make knives. I blacksmith. And this is the thing that finally got me is a piece of metal in a smoke detector.
Well, was your tetanus shot up to date?
Yeah, because I put a fence through my hand. Like I put a fence right through my hand the other.
Oh, I think we talked about that. Yeah. Oh no, 3 weeks ago we talked about that years ago.
3 months ago. Sorry, okay. 3 years ago. Sorry, but yeah. Anyway, back there blogging with my finger dangling off a day later, so it's all good here.
Oh my God,
pretty eventful, and the play was great. So
yes, I would have loved to see the play.
And we'll put that up. We probably should have said ahead of time. We'll put it up right here if you want to see what the finger looks like. There's going to be a picture of it right now. If you don't want to see it, just close your eyes for like a second and you'll miss it. Okay. But here it is. What would you do? Would you go to the emergency room with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you have?
I probably would have waited.
I would have called all the urgent cares and found somewhere that would have taken.
I did. They were like, they don't like doing work, Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a terrible story. Why don't you lift us up a little bit? Let us know how we can help Ukraine.
Okay. I didn't see this the first time it came out, but over on Search Engine Land, I don't think we covered this before. I'm not sure. Danny Goodwin back in March had help for Ukraine SEOs and PPC specialists seeking work. It's a great article that has a bunch of links that if you're looking for a job or gig from Ukraine, there were 90 search marketers that added about specializations and skills so you can go help them out. And if you're looking for a freelancer, that might be a great place to start. Somebody that might really be able to use that money. So thank you to Search Engine Land and Danny Goodwin. Don't miss it.
Wonderful. Well, getting into the news this week, there was a big Performance Max update from Google Ads as reported by Greg Finn for Search Engine Land. This is a temporary gig, right?
Yes, it's temporary.
Because it's getting old every time being like, it was Greg.
No, I just help it out.
Yes. This is another article written by Greg this week. So Google announced that the new customer acquisition goal is now compatible with Performance Max and Google Ads, which is amazing news for people because we have basically no control right now, and we don't know how much of that traffic is remarketing, and this is going to help with that a little bit. So advertisers now have the ability to use your data to help Google identify and serve to new customers in the form of customer match lists or conversion tags for people who have made a purchase, or you can opt for the auto detection method. This new auto detection is Performance Max includes the Google detected purchase conversion tracking previously seen in Smart Shopping, plus they, quote, have also built new machine learning modeling to predict how likely a user is to be new versus existing customer for an advertiser to make up for low match rates. I had to read that directly because we really don't know what that means at all.
we don't.
And then there's a very big disclaimer here that this does not guarantee that you won't be doing remarketing. You probably still are. Instead, Google will just work to find users that are new customers. You still can't negate that traffic entirely. And I feel like a very easy way to avoid existing customers would just be to let everyone add negative keyword lists with their brand terms.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big issue is like a lot of those match rates have to be pretty impeccable to work well. And one of the big issues is it's fine for retail many of the times, but if you're doing anything B2B, there is generally a much lower match rate because B2B folks might be using their business email to download something or for their account. And then it just might not have a Google account there that can be unmatched, so
yeah,
it's not perfect.
It's better than what we had before. And I don't want to be ungrateful. I just wish we could do like audience exclusions.
I agree. It's a nice feature for a fundamentally flawed campaign type.
Yeah. And we are also getting new additions to the Insights page within PMax. So they have asset audience insights. These insights will help advertisers see how text, images, and video assets, quote, resonate with specific customer segments. That's really all we know right now until we see it in our accounts. No more news on that. And
however, you can't target those segments.
Yeah, so what's the point?
I don't know.
I guess you could use it in other campaigns.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's like you can see this stuff and it's like, oh, this works really good here. Oh, this other image works really good there. All right. I can't segment that. Like, why are you doing this to me? It's like torture.
Yeah. I've never really found much useful information on the Insights page, so I'm just not optimistic about this either. So then they also have diagnostic insights. These are intended to help you identify, quote, setup issues that may be hindering performance. I just feel like all it's going to say is raise your budgets, right? Like, what setup issues? There's nothing to set up.
I lay at night thinking about the fact that there's a raise your budgets, but no lower your budgets.
It's all it's going to say is raise your budgets. What else are you setting up?
I think it might say, hey, like you should have a video or something like that. Again, it's not going to stop it from showing. The PMax campaigns, as we've talked about with Queen Jill Saskingales many times, or at least her example, they're very, very strange. Like nothing will happen, and then things will just start happening. So at least you might be able to, with this diagnostic tool, be like, oh, it's not anything with the setup. It's just Google Performance Max being Performance Max and not being a good campaign type. And it just needs time to go for it. I don't know.
Okay. And last but not least, the one-click upgrade is finally rolling out. I was so weary of this because one click and everything, that sounds terrible to me. But I didn't think about the fact that it's going to keep the previous learnings from your old campaign. So now I might be a little bit more inclined if you're have a smart shopping or local campaign that's going to have to become PMax anyway. Maybe you could try it and just double and triple and quadruple check all your settings.
Be careful.
Could ramp up faster. Yeah. Just be careful, everybody. That's the only advice I have for PMax.
And one other thing with this too, sorry to steal your story, but
oh, you wrote it. I keep wondering like why I'm reporting the stories that you write. I know.
Is there's the 3 different ways that they're going to try to detect customers. You didn't cover that fully, right? So there's the customer match list, which is email, first name, phone number, last name, whatever. And then there's
conversion tags.
Mm-hmm. And then there's something called auto detection, which was new to me.
Yeah, I read that quote.
Right. And so it's just to be clear, there's something called Google Detected that is available currently with Smart Shopping. This is not that. Google Detected and Smart Shopping, I don't know why they come up with all these names that are so similar. That is using basically those conversion tags, and it's just called Google Detected. This uses those conversion tags and uses machine learning to try to guess who is an actual customer currently and who's not. So it adds another new layer that is a little bit different than Smart Shopping. So if you think it's the same, it's not. It's something new, not a ton of information on it, but it's called auto detection.
Wouldn't it be easier to just let us exclude audiences?
No.
Okay. What else is happening, Nicole?
So in social news, what everyone can't stop talking about, the board of Twitter has agreed to a $44 billion takeover by Elon Musk. So 2 weeks ago, Elon Musk put his bid in for Twitter, which was initially rebuffed, and Twitter execs threatened to dilute the shareholdings of anyone who bought more than 15% stake in the company. But after Musk revealed specific details of his proposed bid, which is made up of $25.5 billion in financing, the board members unanimously approved the bid, and now Twitter's shareholders will vote to approve the deal. And to add on, Musk has been pretty outspoken, calling for changes to relax content restrictions on Twitter, make algorithms open source, and crack down on spam bots. And Musk has also had numerous tweets since the announcement addressing free speech. One, for example, called out Truth Social, an app that launched February of this year by Trump Media and Technology Group, that showed it as number 1 in the Apple Store, beating Twitter and TikTok apps. And in one other tweet, Musk wrote, "I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter, because that is what free speech means." And since the announcement on Monday, Twitter has been flooded with user reports of high-profile content or high-profile accounts losing thousands of followers, but Twitter has said that these fluctuations are due to organic account closures. But on the other hand, some accounts on the political right, like U.S. House Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene's following, has skyrocketed.
So what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I'm not the right person to do it because I'm like politically agnostic.
I want to be too.
What do you think, Nicole? And politically, where do you lean? Do you think this is a political issue? And what are your thoughts?
Well, I think inherently everything's political in this world.
Agree.
But my initial thoughts are that if I was working for Twitter, I'd kind of be freaking out right now.
100%.
But on the other hand, I feel like everyone's freaking out, maybe for different reasons on both sides, whether you are for him buying out Twitter or against this. But I feel like if you look at the ideas that Elon has put out or the concept that he's brought to fruition through other businesses, like, he is a smart guy, and to be optimistic about this and think, well, what good changes can come out of him taking over Twitter and not just it being a free-for-all like he tweets currently.
Shep, what about you?
It's not, I mean, if anyone's unhappy about it, I feel like they just don't have to have a Twitter account. Or if they don't like the changes that are made, they don't have to have a Twitter account.
All right, and as a marketer, what do you think?
Oh, I haven't even thought about. Maybe he'll fix the ad platform. That would be amazing. I feel like
I don't think he likes ads in the least.
I don't think he wants ads. Like,
No.
he doesn't need the money.
So how does he want to make? He doesn't want to make money off of this.
Why would he need the money? The
He
advertising.
does need the money.
Yeah, he had to
He
secure
had to
financing.
borrow money
yeah.
to get here.
So he needs ads.
I don't
Fix
think
the
he's
ad
like-
platform. Call us.
I don't know. I just feel like he's not as much at the will of advertisers as Twitter is when it was a public company, or it still is a public company.
I feel like they're not at the will of advertisers, though, because they really would be doing a better job of making it usable.
And I think everybody's got like thoughts on Elon Musk, and I'm going to try to, there are some things he does that are like meme posting and strange. And again, I know that he was born and brought up with Asperger's, isn't on the, neurodivergent spectrum and everything like that. So again, I hope everybody knows that before they pile on. But I think I am personally optimistic for this. Because I think one thing he mentioned off the bat, the biggest problem is bots. And it's like, that's one of the biggest issues for hate and piling on and all this different things is people without names associated with their accounts, right? These are like just eggs and, American flags and stuff like that going after people. And it's like, you're not real people. And he's like, I want verification. I think everybody that's looking at this is like, well, this is going to be bad. We're going to see more people come out of this. I don't think it's even going to be the same axis that we're like Y and X axes. I think he's gonna make a new axes with it. Like he thinks so different than everybody else. Like imagine if, like, again, I think everybody here would say free speech is good, probably. Right?
Yes.
I'd say hate speech is bad.
Yes.
Being mean to other people is bad.
Yes.
Right? Like those things are pretty well, agreed upon. And if you had something where you had to put your name in to be able to unlock certain, like I think he's going to come up with different ways.
Yeah.
Like you have to verify, you have to put your information in, and then you can do whatever you want. You can go after this. If you're just a troll that's a bot, you know what? You're not a human. You don't have free speech. You're not saying, like, I could see this being so dramatically different than what everybody thinks. That's just the way that he thinks. And the fact that he starts, and he's always said that the bots and the spam is the biggest problem. I think it's going to be something that nobody's expecting, where it's like a verified kind of person.
Yeah.
So I also, people are like, you can't open source the algos. That's something else he wants to do. To be like, hey, when you get shadow banned or when you get this, we want to see what the algorithms actually are. I'm all for that. Like people like open source is generally good. People are like, well, now people are going to be able to game the system even more. It's like literally no, he's trying to make it a fair thing for everybody. And then you mix in some of these other things. I think it's going to be generally a lot less bots and spam. Are there still going to be jerks that are jerks out there? Yeah. But hopefully, again, he said something else like, I want people to be able to interact in any way that's upheld by the law, and again, you can be mean to people and that's within the law. That's where I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it's not the case.
Yeah.
But at least if you're like, hey, here's my name, this is who I am. You're not some random egg just, hating all over the internet. So I think that's good. And then I think the other thing is he's got so much of his money into here. You would think he'd really want this thing to succeed. Like he had to take out loans. It's $44 billion. Like he's in debt to buy this now. This has got to be a major thing for him. And you would think that he'd be like, I probably don't want to lose all this money. I would want to make something that is inclusive and, a happy place for all. So that's I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised with some of the bot stuff. And I really hope he does more authentication and verification of people. And that's like a key that people have. Because you don't see people on LinkedIn that have their full name ever, talking crap because you have your name on there.
I just think we have no idea what's going to happen, and I'll have an opinion when we see what happens. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be something completely different than what everybody else is whining about now. Like, I think it's going to be something he got to space and is arguably one of the most important people in climate change, I'd say. Like our single-handedly
and stopping climate change.
Yeah. Single-handedly moved us
you
off
made it
carbon
sound
emissions.
like he was like the bad guy.
Oh, no. I mean, unbelievable what he's done with Tesla. And I think everybody would agree with that.
Anyway, we'll see what happens.
But if there's full of hate, then heck him.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
That's why I'm not
then
on Reddit.
But also, if you're a brand, like you might want to consider, like if you're really, if this really goes south, maybe work on your LinkedIn more. Like get going on that. You don't really have great options.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like where else could you go?
But what brands are really killing it on Twitter, Wendy's?
That's a good point. I guess. I
feel like it's not a great space for brands already.
For you personally, yes. Like maybe LinkedIn is going to be a better case to go. If you're trying to build your personal brand, build your profile, maybe if you shied away from LinkedIn, start working on it.
So you're talking about the PPC chatters of the world.
Sure, yeah.
Or join us in Discord, community.marketingoclock.com.
But you're the tyrant that controls that, Shep.
No, I'm not. I have a ClickUp task to check it once a day, or else I'd forget. I do my best. What else is happening this week?
All right, from Greg Finn at Search Engine Land, I just have a quick update here on Google Ad extension upgrades. They're out in most accounts, most accounts. I don't know the percentage of it, but the old extensions as of April 31st will all be migrated to the upgraded extensions. So if you have not looked at these or played around with these, they should be in your account. Again, they will be in your account as of May 1st. And so there's a few different things to consider. I don't think we went through it fully, but with the new extensions, you can pause them, which is a big deal. So I think that's the big takeaway here. You can pause an extension and it won't impact your ad performance, essentially, is what they said. So that's one thing. Another thing is with these new upgrades, anything higher, so the highest level is an account level, then campaign level, then ad group level. Any site link, or I think it's site links, it's call outs and structured snippets. Anything higher can make it down to an ad group. So if you have an ad group and you've got 6 different site links in there, hypothetically, anything above from a campaign or an account can make its way down into that ad group.
So if you had everything at the campaign level before, but you're opted into automated stuff higher, now it can start trickling down, right?
Anything can.
Oh, wow.
Yep. That's just a feature now. And then lastly, there's a few things going away. Not anything you really care about. It's like device preference for mobile, start and ending call extensions. But the bigger thing is if you're looking for any of that extension data, it will not be there in the normal interface. It will just be in the predefined reports. So in predefined reports, you'll see extensions that are upgraded and then extensions themselves. So you'll want to go to just extensions if you want to see historical data. You just need to go to report to do it. And it just seems like it's like a needed thing because, you also see automated extensions in there. It just seems like it's like a upgrade in general of everything so that everything can kind of like be in this new format. So, whenever there's anything that moves to a new format, and you have to go look in a different place for the old data because it's a new product. So I think overall this will be great and love to see it.
Now it's time for this week's Take of the Week. This is a #fire digital marketing take with extra spice served up for you. We simply deliver the take for your consumption. We give no opinions. We don't influence. You make the call.
All right. And from Cody Plofker at Cody Ploff on Twitter, he writes, "Don't listen to anyone that says MRR is pointless. If you're not familiar with MRR, it's marketing efficiency ratio. It takes a look at your sales over your ad spend." So he says, don't listen to anyone that says MRR is pointless. Don't listen to anyone who says MRR is your only metric to care about. Honestly, just don't listen to anyone. I love it. Everybody gets too caught up in metrics. I love all the metrics. If all the metrics are looking good, you're in good shape. Don't just attach your wagons to one, especially MRR, because that takes a lot of organic stuff and earned, out of the equation. But I love it. Thank you, Cody.
And I have another take from Mike Ryan at Mike Ryan Retail. He said, Greg Finn contributing to Search Engine Land is the best thing to happen to SEM this year. Take.
Newsflash, SEM is in trouble. Thank you, Mike, though. Appreciate that.
Now it's time for this week's ICYMI.
ICYMI, people.
This is something you just might not have seen. Maybe something that you overlooked, but you shouldn't have.
ICYMI, people, from Colin Slattery at CJ Slattery on Twitter. He had a question for PPC chat this week. He said, curious what other PPCers do in terms of account inheritance hygiene. Do you remove old campaigns or just leave things paused? So there was a lot of great conversation here. I just pulled a few people's points out. Queen Jill Saskingale said, I never delete campaigns, keywords, or ads, only pause. I want to ensure they're easy to find and record all of that historical data. Tim Jensen said, valid point. I do delete old ads sometimes, and the random disapproval notifications for pause ads get annoying. Menaham Ani said, I never delete anything. We typically build on old campaigns instead of building from scratch, but not always. We pause anything we don't want active. That makes me nervous. He's brave. I get nervous that I'll miss something that they set up.
Oh, see, I usually Z it out, like put a Z.
That's
in front,
what, yeah.
Yeah, and then turn it to like 1 cent for a budget or something.
So you can just exclude. You can have a filter in your campaigns that, like, if anything starts with Z, you're not going to see it.
And if
it goes to the bottom too.
Yeah, and if it turns on, you spend a cent.
Yeah.
So like, there we go.
John Kagan had a great thought too. He said, I photograph me deleting crappy work, make it into a GIF, and send it to the old agency. Thanks, Sean.
Now it's time for this week's Pew Pew Lightning Round. At this point in the show, we split up our content into 3 parts: paid, organic, and social.
Getting into the paid universe this week, Chris Ridley at C_J Ridley has an update. He really is on his honeymoon this time, and he's still updating us. He says, I went into Google Ads today to set up a campaign experiment, and I was pretty pleasantly surprised to see Google Ads now provides the option to automatically sync changes made in your base campaign with your experiment campaign. This is amazing. We heard about this, I think, when they changed how experiments worked a few months ago. I haven't seen it in action. This just things that make sense, you know, that TikTok trend that Killer loves so much. She made us do it around our office. Thank you, Chris Ridley. Okay, and an update from Google Ads. In June 2022, Google will update the enforcement procedures for repeat violations with the addition of 9 policies in scope of the strike-based system. So this is the 3 strikes you're out. You get like warnings, you're paused for a few days, and then if you do it 3 times, it's really 4 times. Because you get a warning. Your account's suspended. So basically, you can look this up and find all 9 categories. If you're advertising mail order brides, you're out of luck.
I don't get what's in this thing. Did you look at the what's in there?
What's in the list?
Yeah.
Yeah, mail order brides.
Right. But like a credit repair service? What are people supposed to do? I've worked with credit repair services before, like the most reputable one ever. I'm not going to give a free plug. Like they save people's lives.
And they're just not allowed to advertise on Google.
I guess you just can't. And then it's like a personal loan. Like,
because I feel like people just ruin it for everyone else. There's so many crappy credit repair services that just take people's money. Jen Shaw.
Whoa, who's that?
Okay, so from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She was on season 1 and she has so much money and she's married to this assistant coach at a Utah college and everyone's like, how do you have so much Fendi, Louis Vuitton in your closet? It just didn't add up. So then she comes on the reunion. She says she has this marketing agency and we own the algorithm or something. And I'm sitting there like, listen, telling all my friends, this doesn't add up, okay?
Yeah.
Comes out a year later, she's in this massive scheme with like telemarketing and selling lists.
Well, she'd be banned.
For credit repair.
No, call directories and forwarding services.
Oh,
well.
She's banned. Yeah, she's going to go to jail. Sorry, Jen Shaw. Okay.
And also like clickbait. How do you tell what's clickbait?
Click here. I don't know.
That's weird. That's a weird one. Like a lot of these things are like, it's like compensated sexual acts. I understand what that is. Right?
Okay,
Mail
good.
order brides.
I'm glad you didn't ask me about that one.
I understand what that one is. Clickbait?
What about mail order grooms?
Great point, Shep.
Yeah.
Wow.
This ain't right.
Not right. Sexist.
Okay.
They exist too.
They do.
Have you ever seen that show?
90 Day Fiancé.
90 Day Fiancé.
I haven't
Oh,
seen a
yeah.
lot of it. Do you watch it?
I used to watch it, but now I don't.
I don't know a ton, but Rianne from Cypress North turned me on to Big Ed.
Oh, Big Ed, yeah. He has a big following.
I'm going to use your joke and I'm going to tweet it out and see if anybody likes this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mail order grooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mail order groom's okay.
I really read that and I was like, I can't believe they're not canceled.
Seriously.
Okay. Now we have an update from Julie Bacchini. She shared an article from her @NeptuneMoon Twitter account from CNBC, and it's talking about what consumers plan to cut back on as the price for everything goes up, basically. So she's just giving a hot tip for anyone in PPC if you're advertising in any of these categories. What do you guys think people are planning on cutting back on?
Well, I already looked at it.
Oh, you did?
I didn't look at it, so I'll go. I bet that they're going to cut back on travel because of gas prices.
They said cancel a trip or vacation 40%, cut back on driving 42%.
Check. I bet they will cut back.
But if you just said travel, that's an easier way to say it. Like, but cancel a trip I already planned, that's different. Like, I feel like the way this was worded was confusing. Or cut back on driving, like, you got to go to work. I don't know.
I mean, not people don't drive anymore.
People don't.
Gig economy.
Yeah.
Work from home.
Yeah.
What was number one?
I drive. Cut back on dining out. Not me. And from Dario Zanoni, he says, I don't know who needs to hear this. I needed to hear this. But Google Ads now explains why served costs might be higher than the spending limits in the budget report. I think they had a problem with this recently and needed to improve this because they were getting so many questions. Because I had a problem in my account last week where it spent more than 2 times its daily budget in a day. But basically, it has a little disclaimer. It says your served cost is the total cost of all clicks and impressions a campaign received before we apply download adjustments to reflect your spending limits. In rare circumstances, your served cost may exceed your spending limits. Don't worry, you never pay more than your spending limits. What a nightmare. And your spending limits are 2 times your daily budget in a given day or 30.4 times your average daily budget in a given month because nothing makes sense in Google Ads. Okay, from Andrew Hutchinson for Social Media Today, Twitter announces a full ban on climate change denial in ads. I'm glad you don't deny climate change, Andrew Hutchinson, but you do deny marketing a clock.
It's true.
So maybe you could just work on that.
But would this be something that would be allowed with Elon?
I think so. I think he's been very vocal about climate change.
But then that's a good point. If he's all for free speech, he's got to let people say that climate change isn't real.
But again, my thing is like if there's accountability and you can see what company this comes from, and then more importantly, who's behind it? Is it like big oil? Is it GM or somebody that's behind this climate change denial? Like, I don't know. And then if you want to laugh, the John Oliver climate change denier convention, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. Hysterical.
Okay. Sounds like a fun time. Okay, now we have an article from Marketing Brew by Ryan Barwick, and this is based on research from a ad fraud detection company called DeepSea. So it says, new research, if you bought traffic on Yahoo properties between 2021 and February 22, it could have been paid users or visitors from porn or piracy. So
this is a kid's show.
I know. Also, like the pirate in that sentence with that, it just made me think of things. So then it starts. He's really funny. What's a problem advertisers and Angelinos have in common? Bad traffic. Researchers suggest that traffic from what the industry often considers invalid was flowing to Yahoo-owned sites. So here's how it works. He says, say you're in the mood to enjoy some adult content or a pirated copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. When a user visits a specific URL, a trigger is pulled to either open another tab in your browser or in a new window that pops up under the content you're watching. That new window would play your ad on a Yahoo-owned property, and then you'd have to pay for that ad. In other cases, visitors were being paid to visit Yahoo sites. And then he says that they tested it, and they were paid to go to it's an app I have on Roku that is always annoying me. It's called...
Swagbucks?
No, it's not. Pluto TV. It's like a conspiracy theory, and now I'm proved. Every time my daughter takes the remote, all of a sudden Pluto TV is up on the TV. It's like a fake streaming service. They were paid to go watch it to see how to lose a guy in 10 days.
They should get lost like the planet did. You know?
Wait, what?
Pluto. It's not a planet anymore.
Oh my God.
But the real question is like this fella, Ryan, was saying, you're in the mood for the adult content or Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Do you think there's a crossover somewhere out there?
Yes, I think there's a huge crossover.
Gross.
I think we're getting an insight into his brain maybe. But also, you don't need to pay someone to watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It's an amazing film. I'll watch it for free.
It's great.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So I just love that story.
Top 10 rom-com.
Totally.
Top
Have we ever
5.
done that draft?
No, we should.
Okay.
I'm taking that first, though.
Okay. I'll remember that. I will go first. From the Google Ads developers blog, if you're a developer currently using the AdWords API, basically you're in trouble because it was officially sunset on April 27th and requests for the API will fail. So good luck to you.
RIP WordStream.
And from Barry Schwartz for Search Engine Roundtable, he says Google and Microsoft Bing search ad revenue are both up about 22%. So originally this was an article from The Street. It says Google stock slump as weaker YouTube ad sales mar Q1 earnings, $70 billion buyback addition softens blow. So basically search ad revenue went up about 21% for Google, and Microsoft Bing search ad revenue went up 23%.
That's crazy. I thought they had smart bidding. Wouldn't you think that with all the smart bidding in the world that these numbers will go down? What is happening?
No, because the smart bidding is to make them more money. It's smart for them.
Wait, you're telling me that if I trust the company that's trying to hit revenue numbers, that they're not going to lower my costs?
I'm sorry.
Weird.
Okay.
Also, that Neil guy that takes the
your
short
favorite
videos
guy
on his
Poor
chair.
Neil.
No, that guy does not know how to make shorts. He does not know how to run YouTube. With this quarter, he should step down. It is unfathomable that YouTube can't hit their numbers. And then they blame it on TikTok in Russia in the
Are
European
you
clients.
kidding? Not to mention, don't forget they're running ads on people who aren't eligible for YouTube partners and taking all the money.
Exactly.
And they're not making their revenue goals. What's happening?
That is the most poor. Susan with Jackie. Sorry, Susan. Bring the dislike back and step down. Everybody should be stepping down there. I have not seen a worse job for a product. They're like, oh, the competition is good. Look, you're YouTube. You're the only video game in town, and you've not figured out. And you're still. I log in anywhere, and it's like you want YouTube TV or you want YouTube Premium.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody wants that. Focus on the creators. Focus on making things easier. That's it.
And the algorithm is terrible on the TV app.
Awful. It's like it doesn't.
It's all videos I've already seen.
It doesn't relate. It's like there's just such it's a completely different team. Awful. It should be the number one. It should be the number one. It should be bigger than Netflix.
Yeah.
Which is not saying much today. But.
Speaking of Google Ads revenue, we have a tale from PPC Reddit. This says, this is from user Texas Finds. I just started a small business. Second time getting this email. Here's the email. Finish signing up with a free one-on-one consultation. Call this number to get started with Google Ads with a Google Ads expert. Finish getting your business on Google. Talk to one of our experts. And the title of the post is, what is this and what is the purpose behind it? Their revenue. Ads seems too much to learn. Google Ads seems too much to learn. If everyone could just learn it, they would. That's an excellent point.
I don't know if I have 5 minutes to do a rant on this, but
yeah, just go for it.
Everything that they do is under the guise of simplicity. Tell me how Performance Max is simple. Tell me. How is that simple?
We're all trying to figure out how it works with our other campaigns, and we don't have an answer.
I've done this since the inception of Google Ads. I worked on Overture. I've never seen a product dumber than Performance Max. The fact that you need to figure out what auto-detected audiences are versus Google-detected audiences in a smart shopping campaign. You have to figure out what smart shopping is versus Performance Max, and Performance Max sort of does shopping, but it really doesn't, but it takes in local accounts. We put a location in, but it's not a local ad. There's nobody under the plan. Agencies are like, well, Google's trying to replace us. There's no way that an agency can be replaced with the way that how difficult Google Ads is. You can set something up with everything that they say to do, and it just won't spend. It's like, oh, this is smart bidding. Oh, but it won't spend. It is the dumbest. They've turned it into the worst platform ever, and it comes from somebody that loves Google Ads. And they're just, I don't know how anybody could learn this. How could you learn this without some kind of mentor?
You can't even report on it. I can't.
Is it me? Is it me, Nicole? How do you explain some of these things? Like, how do you explain conversions versus all conversions and all these things?
You don't, not even from their courses. They're free courses they offer, which
all
suck.
have incorrect information in it. I gotta re-up my certifications. Not this going to do anything.
Same.
I don't know. I'm with this person though. Like everything that they've said about making Google Ads easier is not true. It is not true. And the downfall is long term. It's not in the next quarter. Next quarter might be 23% up again. But when we're talking about 2032, revenue is going to be non-existent. Nobody's going to be using this platform and they turn into a hot piece of automated garbage.
It's great for my job outlook. Do you have better
We'll be
news?
on the next one. There's something good. Elon's coming. Maybe he'll give us something.
Okay. Do you have better news for us in organic?
No. Yeah, I do. All right. So first off, from Barry Schwartz over on Search Engine Roundtable, former host of the show. He writes, it's gone. The Google Search Console URL parameter tool is now offline. We heard about this coming. It's now just gone. There's a link to the tool, and it's funny. It just says, when you click on where it used to be, it says, this report is no longer available here. Learn more.
That is so dramatic.
You didn't need the word here, right? Like, why put here in there? Like, just say this report's no longer available.
I don't know.
Because somebody's going to go looking for it. You're like, it's not here. Well, where is it?
When you're writing as many articles as Barry is, you can't worry
This
about
is Google.
these things. Oh.
They should use, I know they can't use machine learning and everything. Maybe they should have, because it might have done a better job. All right, and from Barry Adams. Ooh, Barry off here today. At B Adams on Twitter. Love him or hate him. It says, it looks like after a lengthy transition period, writers have finally killed off their AMP articles across the board. No measurable negative impact on traffic and visibility. Period. Delete AMP. Period. I'm with him. Look, AMP's a disaster. And Google pushed it and is in court for it because they pushed it too hard and cheated, allegedly. All right, and from Barry Schwartz over on Search Engine Land, Google Spam Brain is here, the AI-based spam prevention system, and it launched back in 2018. We just have more information. It's the first time we've heard the name Spam Brain. So this is different than Rank Brain or Brain Labs or whatever brain you want to think
Or Galaxy Brain.
Galaxy Brain. And it's called Spam Brain. And according to this article, Google can use Spam Brain to catch 6 times more spam in 2021 than in 2020. And it reduced the hacked spam by 70%. And reduced gibberish spam by 75%. So you can check it out and learn more about that. Over on Search Engine Land, Barry has another article. This is titled, is the Google Business Profile Manager going away for multi-locations businesses as well? It appears so. So if you've been managing that business profile, if you remember, you could still have that when you've got like franchisees and multiple locations. It appears that's going away. Somebody got a message saying managing your business profile is moving to search and maps. I swear, none of these engineers have ever used these products. The search and maps and trying to manage your business profile is an absolute disaster. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants to log into Google Maps and search for their company.
It's
to manage
really
something.
bizarre.
It's so incredible. And then you just get these messages, and I've got to respond to these messages, and Google has a massive spam problem with their business listings, for the record. And you just have to log into Maps to respond. It stinks. Awful. Again, these people have never set up a business. That's just what it is. All right, and from Claire Carlisle, popular from the Azim Digital Ask Show, most recent episode. Go check it out on your favorite podcast player. Claire says, offer posts are now appearing in a deals tab on the Google Business Profile on mobile. So if you have offers, it may show up now as deals. At least Claire saw that live. And next up from Bloomberg, Amazon is targeting their rival Shopify with a new Buy with Prime service. So this will allow merchants to sell products that they list with the e-commerce giant directly on their own websites. So hoping to be like, all right, you've got your site, you can just buy it on Amazon, or buy with Amazon, I believe. Isn't it buy with Prime?
This is new. I swear to God, I bought my husband pants on this last weekend from a bar.
I've seen it before. I
went
with
to
Amazon
Bird
before.
Dogs and checked out with Amazon.
This is technically Buy with Prime? So it uses Amazon payments and fulfillment. So I think that's the difference, I guess. Like, I think if you're selling, I don't know. I love the Shopify Shop Pay.
Let Shopify be.
I know,
Leave
whatever.
Shopify alone.
All right. And from Christina on our Discord channel, community.marketingoclock.com, she says she found this from MailChimp. A heads up, the shoppable landing pages will retire this summer. So if you're using shoppable landing pages, you'll no longer be able to use the payment blocks. So you might need to find a different element. And then there was a whole hullabaloo on Twitter with some of the descriptions that people were seeing for places. Bill Netto saw this the first time at Bill Vaz Netto on Twitter and said they noticed that Google wrote the description for London, so for a city. And Danny Sullivan came in on his Danny Sullivan Twitter account and said, "It's not new. Some knowledge panels have descriptions by human writers at Google, as this page explains. It's been like this since at least 2018, but the /Google attribution was added in 2020. So many people thought that they were scraping this. According to Danny, many of these are written by humans, so a whole big nothing to see here." That's it in organic. What's happening in social, Nicole?
So first up in social news, LinkedIn has added a new option to showcase a link on your profile, along with new analytics tools for group posts, a video trimming feature on mobile, and a new newsletter display option. So specifically that link that you can showcase in your profile, I've noticed this on a few profiles, and I think it's a really cool feature for any content creators out there that want to link out to like newsletters or podcasts or any of their blogs. And then from Ahmed Ghanem at Ahmed Ghanem on Twitter, they said Meta is testing new home UI for Meta Business Suite, showing page cover, new audience, and trend insights. So in the screenshot he attached, I don't know what I'm even looking at.
Yeah, what is that?
Every time I go on to the Business Suite, it's just so overwhelming, and it takes me too much time to find what I'm looking for.
Yeah, Killer had her first experience this week trying to log into Facebook Business Manager, and it was truly terrible. Like, it's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, they really think that this is going to solve any advertiser's problem.
For an agency, like, you cannot navigate it to find your clients. It's a nightmare. And what is this fashion passion culture?
And then David Herman at Herman Digital tweeted, "Me to Facebook. Are we ever going to fix the totals at the bottom of Ads Manager? Facebook to me. No, but we're building a fun and robust new Meta Business Suite for you to be confused over instead."
Oh my God. It's probably true. He got the first honest answer out of someone there.
Yeah. And then Andrew Hutchinson for Social Media Today reported that Instagram launched a live test of pinned posts on users' profiles. So some Instagram users are able to select a pin to your profile option on their post and enable them to dock their chosen updates to the top of their post grid on the profile display. So this is kind of similar to the ability that exists already to pin a story to story highlights on your profile, and users will be able to pin up to 3 posts on their grid.
Nice.
Then Matt Navarra at Matt Navarra on Twitter noticed TikTok is adding the ability to edit your profile via desktop.
Great for brands. Great for Killer.
And Instagram is testing templates, which is a new feature that allows Reels creators to use the same format as other videos, but this is only available to a small group of creators as it's still in beta testing. This feature is similar to TikTok's templates, which allow users to plug in their own photos into a preset format. I just gotta say, I'm so tired of Instagram trying to copy what TikTok's doing in an effort to save their platform from losing engagement. And I'd rather just see them tapping into what makes them unique and just making it better.
I mean, why don't you go there? You should help Elon Musk at Twitter, too. That's great advice.
And then finally, The Verge reported that the EU has agreed on broad terms of the Digital Services Act, or DSA, which will force tech companies to remove illegal content and goods more quickly, explain to users and researchers how their algorithms work, and will take stricter action on spread of misinformation. So companies that violate this will face fines of up to 6% of their annual turnover for non-compliance, and then rules will apply to all companies either 15 months after the act is voted into law or starting January 1st, 2024, whichever is later.
Nice. And on to our segment here. We've got a quiz show. It's the Influencer Quiz Show. And I'm pitting Nicole against Shop here. There was a tweet from Dennis on Twitter. His full name is Dennis Hegstad. So at Dennis Hegstad. He's got a screenshot from an influencer. Don't look anybody here. This influencer had a Reels play that apparently went pretty viral. 11.2 million plays on this reel.
Okay.
All right. And I'm just going to we'll go on CPMs because that's sort of what we deal with here. On average, a CPM, according to Dennis, like might be like $6 is what an advertiser will pay for that. So again, 11 million views. What do you think the CPM is, or what do you think that they got paid? Whatever you want to.
Wait, so it's a sponsored content?
It's how much the creator got paid for the reel.
From the brand.
From Instagram.
Oh, was this one of those new ads?
It's Instagram paying influencers to use Reels.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me the numbers one more time.
So on average, if an advertiser is trying to buy 1,000 views, it's $6. What do you think they paid the influencer for those 1,000 views?
I feel like it's low. I have no idea where you're going with this.
All right, Nicole.
It's either really high or really low. I'm going to go high. So $50. $50.
I'm going 51. I don't know.
$51?
I can't tell which way you're going with this. If it's like they didn't pay anything.
Maybe it's just pennies.
Okay, so what you're saying is
I was just playing
$51.
Yeah, do the math. Times 11 million.
Well, yeah, it would be 11,000 because that's how many thousands there are.
CPM. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it would be 11,000 times 50 is what you're saying.
Wait, that seems like a lot now.
Yeah. So you're saying that for that reel that they paid the influencer $550,000. And you're saying that they paid $500,000. You're both wrong.
I have no idea.
That influencer made $1,200. The CPM that they were paid basically was not $50, it was 12 cents.
So it was low.
Very low.
Why are they paying people to use Reels?
Because nobody wants Reels.
Yeah, nobody wants it. You know what all Reels are? Just copies of TikToks.
I didn't realize that was a confirmed thing that they were paying people to use
I watched
Reels.
this one person that makes like they're sort of like those ocean tables. She just shares all of her stuff. She can only do Reels.
So they say make a reel and we're going to pay you per view.
Yep.
Or CPM.
They're going to pay you for your reel is what you did. So for a reel with 11 million views, they paid $1,200.
Yikes.
Not great. But again,
I'm sorry your game didn't go well.
It went real
I just panicked.
I wouldn't expect anything else. All right. And lastly here, we've got must-see TV. If you haven't fired your cathode ray TV up lately, you will not want to miss the great Google Ads debate where Amalia Fowler is meeting Queen Jill Saskin-Gales live on YouTube. And you can hear what happens when Jill, who is an ex-Googler, again, I'm not exactly sure where she was at Google, and a machine learning lover meet a Google critic who loves control, which is Amalia.
Sounds fiery.
Yes.
It's like reality TV.
Yep. So you can get a link to it over at community.marketingclock.com or sign up for our newsletter, marketingclock.com/newsletter. You will not want to miss it.
And that brings us to our real life segment. Straight out of our accounts and into your ear holes. It's time for Working Hard or Hardly Working, where we talk about what's going on in our IRL work, good, bad, or otherwise.
I alluded to this last week, but I would just like to bring it up again that the keyword search. You use close variants in your search engine, Google and Microsoft advertising, but you can't use it when I'm looking for columns in my reports to know when I type in quality score, you should match that with qual score. So I couldn't find it for a long time. Okay. What about you, Nicole?
So hardly working, the experiments tab in Google. I love the way that you don't have to set up drafts first before pushing an experiment live anymore. But why do you have to go to all campaigns? Then you have to go down to the experiments thing in the sidebar. And then you have a list of all these campaigns. And if I'm running like experiments in all these campaigns, I can't compare them in one dashboard. I have to open up every single campaign in a different tab. And you don't even get like to add columns. You only get like 4 columns to see and compare.
Very frustrating. I'm sorry that you experienced that.
Yeah.
Greg.
Something working hard for me is Killer by way of Instagram Reels. I know we just hacked all over it, but when we put out, Killer cuts up a bunch of stuff where it's sort of like funny clips and things like that. And when she puts them on Reels, the reach is unbelievable. Like they're really pushing Reels. So if you haven't put your videos up there, you may want to check it out and see how much more reach you can get.
And now for this week's
CoolTool.
As a reminder, our CoolTool segment is not an official endorsement or paid mention. We're simply sharing something we found in our travels that may be of use to our listeners. And is really, really cool.
And this week's CoolTool was spotted by Glenn Gabe. Google tweeted out that you can now embed all Google Trend real-time charts and visuals to share and publish online. So it looks super easy. You can just click the little caret embed symbol on the visual you want to embed, and you can choose whether you want the data to update live or freeze it the way you see it when you embed, and then you just copy the embed code into your CMS. Thank you, Glenn Gabe.
Now it's time for our must-read marketing article of the week. An article so advanced, so in-depth, so detailed that we simply cannot cover it in its entirety on today's show.
All right, and this week's must-read marketing article of the week comes from Foundation. Foundationinc.co is the location that you can see it. And there's an article by Nathan Giacomo, and it's called An Inside Look into How ClickUp Went from 0 to 20 million ARR in 2 years. It's a little different than our usual must-read marketing articles, but I thought it was great. They talked about the most valuable product and how that helped get them users and really learnings. And then there was a really cool part in there as well where they had like a search scorecard, and they talked about all the long tail terms and just basically how they built this thing. We use ClickUp. I don't know if we'd recommend ClickUp. Would you recommend ClickUp? We use it. We use it. But if you want to see this, it's just a very, very well done look at how you can build a software as a service product. So much information, everything you need to know. If you're in the SaaS business, check this out. Thank you, Nathan.
Speaking of long tail keywords, cease and desist on the furry fun fact. What is this image?
So I'm no Jess Bud, but I decided I needed to search out a good furry fun fact for this week. So did you know that according to one study they found, rats can lift objects that weigh nearly a pound?
Wow.
Which is more than the average rat's body weight. So if we put the picture I put in our notes up, you can see their rats that are lifting weights. Isn't it cute?
Grow up. So disturbing. I thought we were going to abstain from that this week without Jess, but thank you, Nicole. And now onto our playlist of curated songs to work to. You can head over to playlist.marketingoclock.com to listen to Marketing a Playlist. Nicole, what is your song? You haven't been here in a bit.
I know. So I'm bringing a little Rochester indie music to Marketing O'Clock. And my song of the week is Turning Into Water by Maybird.
Wow. All right. I'm going to keep it here with water. I'm going to go with If We Were Made of Water by Banks.
I'm going to go with Dancing on My Own by Vitamin String Quartet, made popular by season 2 of Bridgerton, which I'm just in the thick of. it really is a nice playlist to work
Do you
to.
know anything what she said there, Nicole? Any
Yeah,
idea?
I think
She
I know.
does.
It's by Robin originally, right?
Yeah.
And it's a cover. It's an
Yeah.
orchestral cover.
It's really good. You don't watch Bridgerton?
No.
Okay, well, everyone's canceled.
She's got a whole theater going on in her building.
All right, that does it for today's show.
It is now officially not Marketing O'Clock.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Marketing O'Clock. If you're looking for more information on today's topics, head over to marketingoclock.com/newsletter to receive every single article we covered. We share the news as it breaks in our Discord community. Head over to community.marketingoclock.com to join.
Welcome to this week's Shootin the Heck. We're after our famous Friday news show. We don't talk about marketing anymore. We just
Shoot the heck.
Today we have a game that some people will tolerate.
It's everybody's favorite game. It's called Late Nights with Greg.
It's apparently not poke holes in this.
No,
but it
this is-
sounds like it.
These are just thoughts, like late night weird thoughts that when I start feeling these thoughts, it means like, hey, my brain is so tired, I should be in bed. So I
Okay.
guess the question is, some of them are questions, but should I go to bed or are these thoughts worth exploring?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So first up, you have a choice. What would you rather be? A fish in a home aquarium or a bird in a cage? What would you be?
I would say a bird in a cage. I think you have a better chance of escaping.
Nicole?
I think I would rather be a fish in a tank, like in a home aquarium, because I feel like the conditions would be much better. And why would I want to escape?
They literally eat their own feces.
So what would you be? The
When
bird?
did this turn into travel buddies?
It's not you're not taking
Yeah, I
these
would
people-
pick the bird. Sometimes they can talk.
My thought is like, at least I got a shot of escaping. Like that.
But have we
least.
ever thought we wanted to stay because it was just so comfortable and
No.
the conditions were
Stockholm
nice?
syndrome.
It's a 24-inch by 12-inch aquarium.
Oh, I'd rather be a bird then. Also, I don't like being underwater. You can't breathe. I mean, if
Well,
you
you're
were
a fish. That's where you get your air.
if you were a fish, you could, but I just don't like that feeling.
Yeah,
hmm
definitely bird in a cage.
So
Okay.
keep thinking.
All right, keep thinking. Here's another one. You know how there are things that people just associate with a brand? Like you'd be like, hey, just Google that. Or like, can you pass me the Kleenex or something like that? I'm sure there's a word for it. I don't know what it is off the top of my mind. I thought of one that changed in my lifetime when I was driving home. So I wasn't actually late at night. Do you remember when things used to be called Cliff Notes? Like, do you have the Cliff Notes version of that? Has changed to Spark Notes.
Actually,
Spark
yes.
Notes
That's
won.
good.
Wow,
That's
my mind's
good.
being blown.
Only time I've ever seen that reversed.
I never thought about that.
Really good.
You
thought.
say just Bing it.
Well, I do for jokes. Like, okay.
That's actually a really good point.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. What? This is a weird one. I'm not gonna do that one. So here's another one. Do you think that the government has an HR department?
Absolutely.
Do they have
Yeah,
do they have
yes.
HR each branch?
Well,
How does it work?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's your definition of government? Like, are we talking state level, county level, federal?
I'm saying like what if somebody very high up, a senator or something, says something inappropriate? Did you have like an HR you
I
go
think
to?
so.
Like the Senate HR?
Well, you just go to Linda Tripp.
You like never see like, oh, it's an HR manager for the government. Like there's
Right.
got to be somebody that's in charge of HR for the government. It's weird.
That's like appointed. If it's appointed, then it shouldn't be HR.
And like, what
Right?
happens if it's the president?
Exactly.
what
The
I'm
people.
saying.
The people are the HR.
Yeah, the voters.
Oh, I like that. All right. Do you think that other drinks are jealous of the Moscow Mule for having such a cool glass?
Yes.
No.
Like name another drink. You can't drink a Moscow Mule in a cup. You need that little copper.
hmm
Yeah, but
glass.
everyone steals them from the bar, and then the bar has to take them off the menu.
Like what drink has their own cup other than a Moscow
Martini,
Mule? Okay, that's a good point.
champagne flute.
Okay.
You can't. The Real Housewives say you can't have champagne in a solo cup. You have to have it in a champagne flute. It's inappropriate.
Okay, good point. That might have been a bad one. Here's a good one. When you're eating a vegetable, it's dead, correct? Like even though you could plant those seeds and there's life in those seeds, if you eat like a cherry tomato, that's dead, correct?
I think so.
When does a plant, when is it dead?
I think when you pick it.
So how does that work then? If you eat it off of the vine, are you eating the vegetable while it's alive? It's alive at some point.
Okay, but the vine doesn't have any roots attached to it. Are you saying that the vines are in the ground?
The vine is in the ground. It's like apple tree. You eat apple right off the tree. Are you eating a live apple?
Yes. But if the apple is in the grocery store, you're also killing it when you eat it.
So at some point, that fruit or vegetable is alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the minute it comes off of the vine or the branch is when it dies?
Or the minute you take a bite of it.
When you take a bite or it rots and the cells are dead inside.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's dead as soon as you take it off the vine. We disagree.
So you're against people eating fruit right from the branch?
No.
So you're okay with people eating live fruit?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
It's live fruit. What's the big deal?
Do fruit have feelings?
No.
Okay. Another thought I had was, I want you to try to explain the flavor of this to an alien that lands on Earth and has never tried this food before.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who's first?
Me.
Dr. Pepper.
I don't really like Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is like a spicy Coke. They've never had Coke, right?
No.
Okay, so it's bubbly and syrupy
You can't do
and
it.
kind of spicy.
It's impossible.
Who could?
Nobody. All right. Nicole, can you explain the taste of an avocado?
It's creamy and
That one's easier.
has a slight sour flavor aftertaste.
You think so?
I think. Or is it bitter?
I was
Maybe
gonna
bitter.
say it doesn't have a lot of flavor.
It doesn't.
But it feels...
Yeah. It's very soft and
Yeah.
smushy. Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Or is that it?
I think that's it. So
How would you explain a Diet Coke?
I have no idea. I was just thinking about it one night, and this Dr. Pepper, it tastes like nothing else out there.
Yeah. Gross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, weird. All right, well.
Okay, well, thanks for
I
playing.
should go to bed.
Yes, you definitely should, and we'll see you next week. Did you seriously make it all the way through that episode of Marketing O'Clock? Good for you. If you're looking for more content, there is a lot more where that came from, so click to watch our latest episode with plenty of digital marketing news and hot takes. Also, please subscribe to our show and like this episode because my job depends on it.